What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Today is Monday, which means Monday Mail Day. Thank you guys again for all submitting questions. If I don't get to your questions, don't fret. I know a lot of you guys get, what the fuck, Ego? Why you ain't answering my question, man? You ducking my question. Listen, I never duck or dodge nobody. It depends on when you guys leave the questions. The sooner the better, because I never know when I'm going to record the video. So I usually upload the video Friday or Saturday, usually Saturday. So the quicker you leave comments, the better for you. And I thumb up the comments I'm going to answer. So let's get into it. First question is from Mike Hawk. Get it? Mike Hawk, whatever. Says Silva, Rousey, McGregor, do you believe in the Mayweather curse? Oh yeah, the Mayweather curse is real. Because usually the fighters that are bringing up Mayweather are usually fighters that have reached a certain level of stardom. And now they're trying to achieve like crossover success. And that also comes with kind of getting distracted. McGregor's trying to do the unthinkable. He's the latest one, so I'll talk about him. McGregor is trying to do something very challenging, very hard, which is move up from 145 to 170. That should be your complete focus. Not to mention, it's last minute. You were training for a completely different person in Rafael dos Anjos, and now you're switching styles last minute. You know what I mean? You shouldn't even be worried. They're doing interviews, even up to the after the switch to Nate Diaz, doing interviews, and he's talking about, yeah, I'd be open for discussions to fight Mayweather. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? You shouldn't be worried about that. You should be worried. So I think the Mayweather curse is real because usually the people who keep bringing up Mayweather outside of boxing have reached a certain level of stardom where their full focus is kind of other things. They're real big celebrities. You know what I mean? So, yes, the Mayweather curse does exist. Next question. Okay, damn. Ego, have you ever porked a chick while watching a boxing or MMA related event? Serious question. Hashtag no homo. Y'all are crazy. But not that I can remember. I never remember smashing no chick to boxing. I love my sports. Maybe after. Well, definitely after, but never. I never recall. If it is, it must have been a weak ass fight. You know what I mean? But I don't remember off the top of my head a time where I was smashing a chick. I smash chicks that are boxers that and they don't look all rough too. You be like, damn, she boxes, but that's something else. Next question. Benjamin Franklin. Hey, Ego, what do you think about Khan condition and weight? Now, I did the Ego Weight Watchers video. I didn't really dive in. I kind of just reported on it. I don't think Khan doesn't look like he's in great shape. He still has plenty of time. The thing is, Mayweather did a video I posted on Instagram, and people say, "Oh, why are you bringing up Floyd?" I mean, if he says something, if he's dropping the gym, he's dropping the gym. I don't care who it is. And shout out to my dude who does the edit. He does the graphic edits, Mini. He did the edit for it, and then I just reposted it on Instagram. But Mayweather says, I moved up 5 weight classes. He said, it's a process. It's not something that happens overnight. And I agree with him on that. In the terms of Conor McGregor, you've seen him just take an L. He did pretty good in that first round, but then he gassed in the second. It's hard because you have to, when you move up in weight, you have to do it the right way. It's a formula to it. It's just like cutting weight. These are all like formulas, and you have to be very strict. If you cut weight wrong, you're fucked. If you move up in weight wrong, you're fucked. That's basically how it goes. You have to do it and be disciplined and do it the right way because there's all types of way you could lose weight quick, but not all of them are advisable. So that's really what it is to me. Khan, the thing I'm worried about is him not really acclimating the right way. You look at Josecito Lopez versus Canelo. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Josecito is a career 140 pounder. He was fighting guys like Jessie Vargas at 140 pounds, right? He moved up, shocked Victor Ortiz, broke his jaw, and he moved up again for pulling the upset. Victor Ortiz was supposed to fight Canelo. That was the fight. He had to just get past Josecito, and then it would have been Victor Ortiz and Canelo. He got upset, so they gave it to Josecito, right? Josecito moved up to 154 against Canelo, who's been pretty stocky and been big. And if you look at him in the weigh-in, he just put on weight. He was just eating, you know what I'm saying? It didn't look healthy. He looked soft as hell at the weigh-in. Like, watch Josecito at a more comfortable weight, like at the Berto weigh-in, which is after being stopped by Maidana, after being stopped by Canelo, you know what I mean? After he's been banged up a little bit, and he looked better at the weigh-in because 147 is he's acclimated to that better than 154. He just tried to rush and jump up. It was a good payday for him, so he jumped up to 54. And you've seen what happened. He couldn't take the body shot and the shots from Canelo, and he didn't look good in the weigh-in. So that's my fear for Khan, is that he's not going to move up the right way. And the other thing you have to be careful about, when you move up, sometimes you lose speed. Sometimes you lose that gas tank. There's a lot of different things. I'm telling you guys. You put on muscle, even if he comes in ripped, sometimes you're not used to fighting with that extra muscle. Just picture being in a swimming pool with ankle weights. You know what I mean? Or a weighted vest or something like that. It's going to be harder when muscle is more dense. And if you're not used to fighting at that weight and sparring at that weight, well, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to come in at a career high rehydration. I don't know until the fight. But if Khan comes in the wrong way, it's going to be tough for him. And he's in there with a person that you don't want to make mistakes with, especially being the smaller man. Next question, Oscar Martinez. Do you think Amir Khan's hand speed and foot speed will give Canelo trouble? And what was the most shocking upset of the weekend for you? Most shocking upset would be, it is not even the Conor McGregor fight, because not just because I know Nate Diaz, but I just knew that was a difficult fight style-wise. Nate is better with jiu-jitsu. He's 6 feet tall. He's a good striker, good with boxing. So I knew that would be a difficult feat, and I knew he could pull it off. It was just a matter of if he would be able to pull it off with only 10 days to prep, and he did it. But the most shocking upset, Sadam Ali to Jessie Vargas. Even if he lost, I didn't expect him to get stopped by Jessie Vargas. And the Holly Holm Miesha Tate. I thought Holly Holm would pretty much dominate Miesha Tate, and she ended up passing out and getting choked out. So that submission shocked me, especially since she was winning the fight up until that moment. Like, Miesha Tate had, I think, a good round 2, and the rest was a dominant boxing and move controlling distance from Holly Holm. And then the last minute she gets tapped or choked. She didn't even tap. She just passed out. So Sadam Ali and Holly Holm losing would probably be the most shocking. Now, as far as the Amir Khan hand speed, foot speed, yeah, I'm going to save it for the 7 reasons. I don't want to give too much away right now. I think his hand speed and foot speed could cause problems. Not really the foot speed. This is just my opinion. I don't think Amir Khan has fast feet, but I don't think he has clever feet. And what I mean by that is, if you look at like Floyd Mayweather versus Amir Khan, their foot speed is not different. I even feel this with Pacquiao. Pacquiao is weird, is awkward. So he's a little bit different because he just jumping jackrabbit. That's what Keith Thurman called it. He's everywhere, so he's hard to like read. But I think both of those guys have clumsier feet than a guy like Floyd Mayweather or even Edeslandi Lara or Pernell Whitaker or something. Meaning, I know they're not the known slick style. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about their actual footwork. I think Khan's feet can get tied up at times. Like, it's not in the right stance and the right positioning at all times. You look at a guy like Floyd Mayweather, he knows his escape route. He knows where he's at in that ring. And every step is pretty much a calculated step. And I don't think the same for Amir Khan's foot speed. I think sometimes he puts his feet in positions that are compromising to him. Like, he's out of position, basically. But he has incredible hand speed. So I definitely think the fact that he's agile in general and he has a hand speed, I think he can win some rounds and give Canelo trouble. I still see it being an uphill battle for him. And I'll expand more on that in the 7 reasons that I do. Next question is from Fernandez Harris. Yo, Ego, would you like to see Errol Spence Jr. fight Jessie Vargas for that belt? He's referring to the WBO. For some reason, I think he will now be targeted by some of the welterweights after wasting Sadam Ali. No one has really showed interest in challenging him. Now that he has a belt, do you think Jessie will make noise in the welterweight division? Because he really impressed me with his KO win versus Ali. Go. Yeah, Jessie Vargas, to me, again, I didn't expect him to knock out Sadam. I thought he could win the fight, but I thought Sadam Ali would win. But I thought Vargas could win it, but I thought it would be a competitive fight. And I didn't really see him KOing because I didn't believe in his power at 47 like that. but he proved a lot of people wrong, including me. So I definitely think he has a belt. He's a title holder. Everybody should be gunning for that, especially guys like Errol Spence Jr. You won a world title fight. Look good versus Chris Algieri. Bob Arum's on the horn saying he wants to work with Al Heyman and make Crawford Broner. He said he'll put Jessie Vargas in with Danny Garcia tomorrow. So maybe he'll do something like that with the Errol Spence. You know what I mean? Danny Garcia is more accomplished as a pro than Errol Spence. So if he's willing to put Vargas in there with Danny Garcia, maybe he's open to the Errol Spence Jr. fight for Jessie Vargas. But yeah, I mean, he definitely made noise. That was a statement type of win for him. I know he said win, lose, or draw. He wants to rematch Timothy Bradley, so that's also an option. They're both on the same side. So there's definitely the options opened up for Jessie Vargas. The only downside I would say is in terms of being charismatic and standing out, even though that was a great win, sometimes great wins get overlooked when it's not the complete package. Like when there's nothing that really stands out about him outside of the ring, you have that pizzazz and chemistry, if you know what I mean. Like Luis King Kong Ortiz, another person, he looked good. He's making huge statements too, but guys like Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder are going to get more press time. Maybe even the Cannon Briggs. Let's go, champ! The champ in shape! You know what I'm saying? Just because they're vocal and they're making noise and making interest in the heavyweight division. Luis Ortiz just comes and fucks shit up and wrecks you. But he's not necessarily talking trash. And I'm not saying you have to talk trash. I'm just saying it's a package deal. Guys like Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, they're winning their fights. Plus, they're doing they have the added pizzazz or the added bonus of their charismatic characters. Jessie Vargas, he doesn't really have that extra it factor, if you will. So it was a great, strong win for him. He just has to work on his brand a little bit more. And I'm not saying he has to trash talk. He tried to confront Bradley, and that really went nowhere. So it's different for different people. Everybody, like me, I'm just talking about branding for a second. The boxing ego, the ego brand, there's certain things that I'm known for doing. I do the first look, tail of the tape, ego Weight Watchers. I do impressions. That's me. You know what I'm saying? That's these certain things that I did for my brand. You know what I mean? And I think Jessie Vargas just has to find that for his brand. What's going to make him stand out from the other welterweights, because there's a lot of champions that aren't really making the proper noise, and they could be great fighters. Like even Lee Selby, outside of the UK, I don't really hear many people talking about him. So they have to figure out how to make him a crossover success, like more of a Carl Frampton, where people in the States are starting to know him. And maybe that involves him coming. So just a little insight on what I feel for branding. Jessie Vargas has to find that niche. Next question is from Connor Malloy. What's your opinions on the WBA ordering Frampton to fight Rigo before the 27th of July? I think it's great. I think the WBO was wrong in stripping Rigondeaux anyway, and then later putting his belt up for a fight for Donaire versus Juarez, I believe his name was. I mean, Rigondeaux already convincingly dominated and beat Donaire, so, you know what I mean? It just, how's the champion get a vacant belt that you strip from the guy that beat the guy? That's retarded. So I like the WBA's motion, because Rigondeaux's due for one of those big fights, another big name. He wants to prove it. He's not getting any younger. He's mid-30s, which is older for a boxer. He needs to start getting these fights instead of fighting guys overseas in the UK and Japan that aren't really American names. People know about him. And hopefully they can secure that with Rock Nation New Deal. But I like it because it's going to put Frampton in a precarious position. He's going to either have to vacate and move up to featherweight, and people can easily say, oh, he ducked Rigondeaux, and then that'll free up the belt, or he's going to have to fight him. And then we'll see El Chacal versus the Jackal versus the Jackal. So either way, I think we win. Rigondeaux wins because he's either going to have a chance at that belt, and then he's going to look good because he's not the one that vacated, or he's going to get the fight that he wants with a guy like Frampton. Next question, Pedro Simon. Why are all these UFC stars failing? Laughing my ass off. I don't know. Well, one thing I will say this. For the MMA, I know some fighters that fight in the MMA or have fought in the MMA. It's a different discipline than boxing. There's more ways you can lose. Like in boxing, customarily, you get knocked the fuck out, you lose a decision, maybe a draw. Those are usually what happens. There's other weird things like disqualifications, but I mean, I can count on one hand how many disqualifications I've seen in big fights in the last 3 years. You know what I mean? Brandon Rios, Diego Chavez, Roy Jones versus Montel Griffin won. You know what I mean? It's not all too often, so it's a little bit different. But in MMA, you can get knocked the fuck out. You can lose a decision. You can also get submitted, you know what I mean, rear naked choke or tapped out. You know what I mean? There's just different ways. So that's one thing. Different discipline. So you're in there with somebody who might have your kryptonite. You don't have no ground game, and they're a master at ground and pound. You know what I mean? Versus boxer, it's you guys have you're standing up. You know what I mean? You only have your 2 feet to use. I mean, excuse me, your 2 hands to use. You can use your feet to put you in position and stuff, but as a weapon, your best your weapon to hurt the other person is just your hands. So different discipline. The other thing is, like I said earlier, some of the main stars, they're becoming so big of celebrities, it's probably getting to their head, and they get this aura of invincibility, like Ronda Rousey. Like, oh, there are people saying I'm the Terminator, I'm the best female combatant in the history of sports, and you start reading all these articles and hearing it, start feeling yourself like, oh, I could fuck up Floyd Mayweather. Start mentioning him, and you get distracted. You're doing movies, and it's hard. It's a balance. Doing a million interviews, press tours, making weight, training, then gearing up for the fight, doing movie shoots, photo shoots for Sports Illustrated, people interviews. It's just a ton of different stuff. So I think sometimes people, they get out of the rhythm. When they were coming up, they didn't have all that. Conor McGregor didn't have all these people knocking at his door trying to get interviews and have him on the Conan O'Brien show and stuff. He wasn't that big of a name back then. So his focus was just nutrition, eating the proper things, getting in shape, training, and probably spending time with his family. Now he has all those same obligations. On top of that, he has all the celebrity obligations from making noise in his sport. You know what I mean? People knocking at his door. So, and you get more money. So it's easy to get distracted. You want to go out, spend money, buy fly cars and stuff. Easy, very easy. I think it was Marvin Hagler that said it's hard to get up and run 8 miles in a silk robe or silk pajamas or something to that effect. Meaning, when you're rich, it's hard to be as dedicated. That's basically what he's saying. Like, you got silk pajamas. You can get up and light a fire in the fireplace and watch Family Feud and shit. Like, who wants to get up and be disciplined to run 8 miles at the crack of dawn like they did when they had to do that? It's very easy to become complacent. And I'm not saying that's the reason all these UFC stars are failing. It looks like they train pretty hard, but there's also mental distractions, not just physical, like, oh, I slack on training. You can also slack mentally, where you start getting preoccupied with the wrong things, like calling out people in a different sport, like Mayweather, and so worried about keeping up with this trash-talking routine where you underestimate people. There's all types of stuff. So that's my reason why they're failing. Different discipline, and I think a lot of them get distracted as they get bigger. Next question is, fuck off already. Damn, that's an aggressive name. 2 upsets tonight. Sadam Ali and Douglas got stopped. What's your thoughts? It seems Ali got exposed here. He got clipped with clean shots from Vargas all night. Ali's defense is suspect. The word exposed, that whole term and cherry picking, I don't, that's not me as a boxer, man. I don't think he got exposed. If he got exposed by a guy who's been in there, like I said earlier in this video, with Josecito Lopez. He's been in there with Timothy Bradley. He's been in there with the guy that Broner just beat, Khabib Alikverdiyev. He's been in there with named guys. Like, it's not like Vargas is a new kid on the block. He's been around. He's been trained by legends. Eric Morales, Roy Jones Jr. I mean, so to me, that whole exposed thing, I don't agree with that. Sadam Ali is a good fighter. He's a former Olympian, and he was in there with another good fighter, and he lost. He got clipped, and his legs didn't recover. So I don't think he got exposed. He just lost to a guy with more pro-level experience, who was hungry, who made the proper adjustments in training camp, switched trainers, and wanted to make a statement. He really wants that Bradley rematch. So kudos to Team Vargas and his new trainer, Dewey Cooper. And that is what it is. I don't think he got exposed. Sadam Ali, I've seen his defense look pretty tight. It's just Jessie Vargas, maybe that style. Some people have certain style kryptonites. You look at Amir Khan versus Granados. He's used to people respecting his power a little bit more. He knocked down Granados, and Granados still kept coming. He was just tough and relentless, applied a different level of pressure. So it's boxing. It happens. Some styles mesh better with yours. You know what I mean? And Vargas he was gunning for it. He wanted it, and it is what it is. So I don't think he got exposed. Sadam Ali, he needs to go back to the drawing board, take some time off, spend time with his family, take some time off, reassess what he did right and wrong, and just work to improve those little things. The Douglas fight, another good fight. They're saying the other guys idolizes Mike Tyson, white Mike Tyson. The learning lesson. That's the best way to put it. You're a prospect. You were in there again with it's the styles make fights. You're in there with the style. You haven't necessarily fought as a pro. Some guys are just tough and they're gonna bring it to you. And no matter what you do, they're gonna just keep on ticking. And you have to find a way to adjust. And you have to have everything has to go right in training camp. If you're not in the proper shape and you gas out, there's all types of stuff that play into it. So Douglas is young. He can learn from him, bounce back. There's guys like Pacquiao that have done it. Pacquiao got knocked out. You know what I mean? Cold knocked out, and later went on to do great things in the sport of boxing. So it happens. He's a prospect. Amir Khan, Antoine Douglas, Tony Harrison. These are all top prospects. Pritchard Colon, well, his situation is definitely unfortunate, but these are all top prospects that had to take early L's that people didn't expect them to take so soon. So it happens. They just have to come back stronger. Next question. Ferg FTW. Ego, what are your thoughts on King Kong? He's a beast. Do you think that he will be able to get a shot versus Fury? He is handling all these heavyweights like it's nothing. Also, how about Conor tapping like a little girl? These UFC fighters need to stop worrying about Mayweather. What are your thoughts on that? Now, I kind of went over that. I definitely think they need to stop worrying about Mayweather. He's in a different fight. He's in a different league in terms of like the echelon of success or how rich he is and stuff like that. Like the Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz live gate did, I think, like $8 million from what I heard from Dana White. And the Berto fight, Floyd Mayweather with Berto, did like 14 to 16 million live gate. And that's a fight that people cried about and didn't want to see. The UFC is a fun sport, but it's still not holding a candle to the top stars in boxing. And that's just what it is. But yeah, stop worrying about other people in other disciplines and other sports. Focus on you and you know what I mean, work on your ground game or whatever you lack as a fighter. That's just my opinion. Like Ronda Rousey, she's not that good with her hands. Get a boxing coach that's really going to teach you. Floyd Sr. or whoever the person is, get a real boxing coach, not just Vic Darchinyan or whoever she's been working with. Try new things and work on that. See if you can improve your head movement, your hands, you know what I mean, and become a better boxer. You already got the judo, so it is what it is. Tapping out like a little girl, I mean, it is what it is. You're going to tap. Most people would tap because I don't know if you've ever been asphyxiated, but it's not fun when you can't breathe. And you're going to either pass out or tap out. If someone has you in that compromising of a position, like, I don't know, if you're getting them police chokeholds and all that type of stuff, rear naked chokes, you'll either tap or pass out. So I don't think he was tapping like a little girl. King Kong's a beast. Luis Ortiz, I see him being avoided. I've said it on Instagram. I'll say it again. I don't know if Fury's in it. I've heard Fury talk a gang of shit about Wilder, Cannon Briggs. He calls him Beyonce Wilder, all this type of stuff. But I never hear any of those guys really mention King Kong Ortiz. So I see he's going to be the guy that's probably overlooked until he starts making more noise to the point where they have to fight him. Next question is from Ernest Sal Coffee. Ego, what do you think about Rigo trolling on Instagram, Rigo Frampton, and you think they're going to fight? And also, who is the A side between Lomanchenko and Walters? And last question, what do you think about Stevenson from Fonfara too? Good questions. Rigo trolling Frampton, hopefully he gets the fight. I kind of answered that earlier in this video. It's a good fight if Rigo Frampton can still make the weight and wants to prove his legitimacy. I think that's a good fight. I think there's certain things he did well and wrong in the Quigg fight, especially second half. He was letting Quigg come on strong. Looked like he was getting hurt by Quigg's shots. I see Rigo beating Carl Frampton. That is my opinion, but it's still a great fight to see if they can prove me wrong, or it could be a good battle. A side, Lomachenko and Walter, they're really about equivalent, but based on how much exposure HBO's been giving Lomachenko, maybe he's the A side. I think his management team, I forgot his name off the top of my head, Aegis. He does a lot of fighter. He's the manager for a lot of fighter Kovalevs and stuff like that. So he has a lot of pull in the business. So I would say maybe Lomachenko slightly, but to me they're probably equivalent in terms of A side. Neither one of them are more known. If I ask my mom, who doesn't watch boxing, who Vasily Lomachenko is or Nicholas Walters, she'd be like, who? She won't fucking know. She'll know Pacquiao or Mayweather because they're at that level, but she ain't gonna know Lomachenko or Walters. So neither of them are really the A side to me. But if I had to pick, maybe Lomachenko because he's pushed highly by HBO and his manager has a lot of workings in boxing. Fonfara Stevenson 2, good fight. They both knocked each other down in the first fight. It's better than Sakio Bika and Stevenson and some of other Stevenson's recent opponents. Plus, Fonfara to me deserves it. Because since the Stevenson loss, he's been on fire. He stopped Chavez Jr., who's a hard guy to stop because Chavez Jr. has a fucking chin. And he stopped him, made him quit. And Chavez Jr. looked pretty big. So he did that. Then he had a war with Nathan Cleverly, but I thought he was clearly winning. It was still a war, but he showed that, he could fight at a frenetic pace. He was throwing a lot of shots. It really hurt Nathan Cleverly. His nose looked like it was broken. So I think, if anything, Fonfara's earned it, to be honest. He earns another title shot just with how he bounced back after the loss. He really, man, shout out to all the Polish people. If there's any Polish subscribers, shout out to y'all. Y'all motherfuckers is tough. The Spilka, he was tough as fuck. Gave Deontay Wilder some good work. Fonfara, he bounced back like a true champion. He lost to Stevenson, and he's been on fire ever since. So a lot of people are going to cry. But where was the outcry when Sergey Kovalev was rematching the guy he stopped in Jean Pascal? This is more of a even match fight. I knew Pascal was going to get ran through just based on the styles, and I even said that. But this is actually a good fight. Fonfara actually could win this particular fight based on how he's looked recently. That's just my opinion. So Stevenson Fonfara is not a bad fight to me. Next question, Roberto Flores. Yo, Ego, were you born ready? Man, you guys already know. I was born ready. Actually, Canelo has a new one where he was on the Canelo Khan HBO promo shoot, and he was like, let's do this. Do these. He said it so weird. It almost sounded French. It was hilarious. But I got to find that video up. Next question, GMO GFX. Luis Ortiz is extremely impressive. Do you see anyone in heavyweight beating him? If anyone could beat him, it has to be one of the top guys. I don't see anyone below that. The only people that might have a chance, and this is I'd have to study tape, but Tyson Fury's and Wilder's guys were a little bit more proven. I don't see Anthony Joshua beating him at this moment, and I don't even know if I see Wilder or Fury beating him. I just have to see a little bit more, but those are probably the most competitive fights out there for him, Fury or Wilder. Any guys below that, good luck. And even those guys that I just mentioned, good luck, because he brings the whole package. He has some size on him. It's not like he's really short. He's 6'4". He can crack. He has boxing abilities. I've seen him get on his bicycle and move about the ring. He's just a good boxer. He's just all around good. His chin, I haven't really seen him really badly hurt. I don't know. So his chin looked like it held up pretty well. He's a monster, and I really see him being avoided. But the only people I would really even give a shot to beat him are champions, like top guys in the heavyweight division. That's just my personal opinion. He's looking good. He's destroying people like it's nothing. Tony Thompson knocked out David Price twice, and he was hurt, I think, in the first fight. Tony Thompson's pretty big, too. I didn't realize how big he is. He's 6'5", 260 pounds, and he's been in there with Klitschko twice. He's been in there with David Price twice. So he has some names. He's been in there with Malik Scott, and he knocked Malik Scott down, I think, in their last fight, even though he lost that fight. So he's a veteran. He has some experience, and Luis Ortiz is just knocking him down silly and just dominating him and then stopping him. Brian Jennings, we never seen him stopped. Luis Ortiz is knocking him down silly, stopping him. The dude's a monster, and I'm anxious to see what happens next. I really see him being avoided, but it's going to be difficult. Even if you do beat him, he's like a Ruslan Provodnikov, not in the sense of skill wise. So don't, oh, he's way better. Like, don't leave no crazy comments. He's like Ruslan Provodnikov in the sense that even if someone were to beat him, you can still tell that other person that beat him has been in a fight. There's no one that I've really seen fight Ruslan where you can't tell they've been in a fight. Herrera beat him. He looked like he was in a fight. Matisse was getting hurt in those late rounds. Bradley had a concussion. You know what I mean? So even if a guy beats Luis Ortiz, I think they're going to have to walk through hell and probably have to bite down at some point in their defeat or in their victory. Next question, Calvin Phelps. Ego, do you believe if Pac-Man knocks Bradley out, he will keep fighting? Yep. I think the money will be too good, and it'll open up too many avenues. If he beats Bradley via knockout, Bradley only has one loss, and it's to Pacquiao. Great fighter, good resume, and he showed a chin, and other guys like Ruslan Provodnikov and Marquez couldn't knock him out. So if Pacquiao knocks him out, it just opens up too many floodgates and too many avenues. Crawford, possibly Broner if Bob Arum's willing to work with somebody. And most importantly, a Floyd Mayweather rematch that might interest Mayweather for a 50th fight. Next question, Stacy Boy Jr. Do you think McGregor and Diaz should rematch? Nah, I mean, I wouldn't if I was Conor McGregor. I think he should drop back down and wait. It maybe in the future, but that's not something he should take now. And if he does, definitely don't take it at a higher weight, like 170. But maybe if he was to take it at 155. But I wouldn't. If I was McGregor, I would drop back down, fight a Edgar, fight a Jose Aldo rematch, fight a guy like maybe even Cowboy Cerrone, fight RDA when he heals up. But I wouldn't go after Diaz immediately, style-wise. I don't think it's necessary. I think he just needs to work on rebuilding, getting his buzz back. Next question, Sahayan Mexican. Hey, Ego, do you think Canelo versus Triple G will happen this year or next year? I don't think it'll happen in September, if anything, 2017. And the reason being, what I've heard, Canelo and Oscar, they're playing this narrative on the Canelo Khan press tour saying big fights, oh, these fights take time to happen. And the negotiations, the Cotto fight took 3 years to make. I mean, you can't, they say it like it's a good thing. Yeah, Mayweather, Pacquiao took 5 years. Canelo Cotto to make took 3 years. That's not a good thing. I mean, those particular fights, for whatever reason, took that long. But it's not like we wanted, as fans, we wanted them to take 3 to 5 years. So I don't understand why people use this narrative of, oh, Mayweather and Pacquiao took 5 years. Yeah, it was 5 long, painstaking years, and the fans were pissed and arguing, oh, Flomo, Pactard, and all this extra shit. People didn't want to wait 5 years. We just unfortunately had to because of drug testing and 40 million without pay-per-view split and this and that. So the fact that Team Canelo's saying things like that, Cotto took 3 years, negotiations take long, and they picked a welterweight who some people consider to be chinny, and that doesn't give me confidence that they want to fight Triple G because Khan doesn't really prepare you for a Triple G style. Khan doesn't have anywhere near the power of Triple G that I've seen in his career, and he doesn't have the chin of Triple G. He doesn't have the style of Triple G. He doesn't have the height of Triple G. Triple G's like 5'11" almost. So it's just a different matchup. If you really wanted to fight Triple G, I think you would have fought more of a David Lemieux style person, Canelo versus Lemieux. Maybe even like a Canelo versus Hassan Indam, just someone who has experience, a ton of experience at 160. Hassan Indam been in there with Quillen, Lemieux, Curtis Stevens, big punchers, you know what I mean? Just to see how you fare with somebody. We've seen him hurt in all those fights, but to see how Canelo would do at middleweight, those would be all more telling, and those would be better indications to me that he wanted to fight Triple G next. So, if anything, 2017, I don't see it happening this year, but hopefully I'm wrong. Next question, Eden Ramek. Who is more proven in your opinion, Terrence Crawford or Triple G? Both guys don't have that career-defining win yet. Per division, Crawford. I mean, the guys he's fought still, to me, have a little bit more going. Like, Gamboa is an undefeated, Olympic gold medalist. Period. I don't remember anybody that Triple G's fought that was an undefeated gold medalist with a good style that could counter. Like, Crawford can clearly box. Gamboa is a slick boxer that's confident and cocky when he boxes with speed and athleticism. So that's an interesting style matchup because Crawford's athletic, but so is Gamboa, right? So, like, I haven't really seen Triple G pitted against somebody who has the perplexities within their style to pose a ton of problems for his style with what he does well. So, again, to me, a style like that would be like a Carl Froch, a man's man that is not going to just go away. Nobody's been able to put Carl Froch away. Nobody's been able to easily put him away. People have had him hurt. I think Jermaine Taylor had him hurt. But what happened? He came back in 12th round, stopped Jermaine Taylor. He's got hurt by George Groves, got knocked down, got back up. What happened? He stopped him, whether you thought it was premature or not, because he came back in the rematch in front of the Wembley crowd, as he always says, 80,000 people in Wembley. And guess what? He set the record straight and stopped George Groves again. So a guy like that would be very telling for Triple G style. Triple G's there to be hit. And that's a guy who we know in Carl Froch is not going to go easy. He was tough, who has power, who has a chin. So I still got to see Triple G in there with the person that I consider to have the certain intricacies in their style that will pose him problems. And like David Lemieux, I never thought he could beat Triple G because he's too wide with his punches. He has power, but if you can't hit the target, it's not gonna matter. He's shorter than Triple G. A fight like Danny Jacobs could be telling. Danny Jacobs is, I would favor Triple G, but Jacobs is 6 feet tall and he has experience. He's been in there with Dimitri Pirog. He's been in there and stopped Quillen, made it look easy work. He's taller than Triple G. He could crack. He's a cancer survivor, so I think he has heart. You know what I mean? He's a life survivor. Those are the types of fights. Guys like Andre Durrell. Yeah, he beat him in the amateurs, but stylistically, Durrell is at wherever he's at. He's tall. He's athletic. James DeGale, gold medalist, good power, warrior. You know what I mean? Those, I have to see Triple G in there with somebody that has that. Gamboa had that. A lot of people keep saying this, like I'm looking at Matador Hernandez. He says, true, I don't count Gamboa as a big win since Crawford came in at 150 plus pounds. That's ridiculous. Why? How would you not give someone credit? He still beat him. And the thing is, Bradley just beat Brandon Rios, who came in high in rehydrated weight, and he stopped him. So what? You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. And Bradley's considered pillow fisted. So the weight is not the only factor. I watched Badou Jack fight some dude, and I kid you not, it was a super middle fight, and the guy came in at like almost 200 pounds or 189 or something crazy, and Badou Jack beat the shit out of him. So weight is a factor. Look at Floyd's career. Maidana, Victor Ortiz, Canelo, those guys were weighing like 165, 168, maybe even 170 when they fought him. So weight does, you know what I mean, that could give you an advantage, but it could slow you down. So Crawford is a skilled fighter. Gamboa on that night was looking good. He had Crawford in a deficit. Crawford lost the first 5-6 rounds easily. He hurt, and that's the other thing. Oh, I don't consider it a big win because Crawford came in 150 pounds rehydrated. I've seen that before. I've seen people come in rehydrated more than the other person and still got slept. Or they came in at the same weight and one person gets slept. But anyway, using that logic from Matador Hernandez, Crawford came in at 150. He was like 155, I think it was. That's true. But guess what? Tell me why he came in that heavy and Gamboa is allegedly just so small, and Gamboa had Crawford hurt on Queer Street more than anybody else in Crawford's pro career that I've seen. It looked like he might knock Crawford out. So people keep alluding and referring to how small Gamboa was, but obviously he had the style, his power transition up well because he had Crawford on bad legs in that fight, and Crawford had to bite the bullet, and go head up and like war back with Gamboa. So people keep talking about how small Gamboa was, but he was obviously cracking because he hurt Crawford more than Hank Lundy. He hurt Crawford more than Thierry Jean. he hurt Crawford more than Ray Beltran, Ricky Burns. None of them other dudes hurt him as bad as Gamboa, but people keep referring to how small Gamboa was. Obviously, Gamboa had something with his speed, his athleticism, and his power because he hurt Crawford more than anybody that I've seen Crawford fight. Bradis Prescott, a Colombian puncher that knocked out Amir Khan in 1 round, and Crawford took the fight in 2 weeks' notice against his manager's wishes. Bradis Prescott never had Crawford in trouble like that, but he had Amir Khan in trouble in the 1st round. And just see, I know my stuff. I know too much about this sport. Bradis Prescott was fighting at 140. At that time, Crawford was fighting at 135. Took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. His manager, Cameron Duncan, said, hey, this is not good. Don't take it. You seen what he did to Amir Khan. Don't take this on that short notice. And Crawford's like, no, I could beat this guy. He did it. Moved up from 135 to 140 where he hadn't campaigned at that time and shitted on Bradis Prescott. So that whole, the weight thing, yeah, weight can play a factor, but if you're skilled, you're skilled. And again, to nullify and shut down that whole argument, Crawford came in heavy, but he was still hurt by Gamboa. That heavy doesn't always benefit you. Sometimes you get gassed, like I said earlier in this video. So that is a good win, and I still haven't seen Triple G fight anybody who's decorated like that and has that style, Olympic gold medalist, and has a style that I feel would bother Triple G, like a guy like a Roy Jones Jr. And that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Monday Mail Day. Try to get to a lot of questions. And that's a wrap. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.